Yeah, I would say potentially.
I mean, I'm shaking in my boots when I think about retirement now.
Yeah, I think retirement's a BS concept, man.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a fairly new concept if you think about it in the grand scheme of time. It really is. You work until you're 60 so you can quit contributing to society. I mean, I think that you have gifts and talents that you should utilize throughout the remainder of your life, you know?
Are you saying people retire? The concept of retirement is not historically sound in human
I think that's what I'm saying.
Existence or whatever?
Yeah. I'm not sure when retirement came along, and I can hit Google for that too.
We are totally Googling.
But I mean, I think that people should find something that they enjoy doing and continue to contribute to society throughout their life. I mean, why would you quit contributing? I mean, if you can help, if you're 60 years old and in good health, why would you stop helping people? Why would you stop therapy with people that you can help so you can sit at home and plant flowers and work in your garden?
It's an interest. I honestly never thought about that, Craig. I mean,
60 Minutes did a show on a man. Who was 92 years old. This is several years ago. And he was a barber, and he ran his own barbershop. And they asked him, they said, you know, do you ever think about retirement? And he says, well, yeah, I think about it every now and then, but everybody who I know that's retired is dead. And he said, so I think I'll just keep on working. And I think there's some theories that people lose purpose when they retire. And
big time. I could tell you that's an emotional issue.
So why would you lose purpose in life? You know,
yeah.
Why not continue to do something productive? And maybe you do something you absolutely hate for 40 or 50 years, which I think a lot of folks do.
Right.
And then you find something that you can contribute in other ways. And maybe that's what retirement looks like to some folks. I don't know. But a lot of folks, when they speak about retirement, they talk about just taking it easy, you know, and
not contributing.
They don't contribute.
Not having a purpose.
There's no,
yeah. That's really interesting, Craig. I mean, I've honestly kind of thought it's one of the reasons why I like, you know, my industry is because I feel like, you know, when what is the average age? 67 years old or whatever. I mean, dude, when I'm 70 years old, I mean, I could still see 10 people a week in therapy. Why couldn't I do that? You know, I've kind of planned that or thought about that. I mean, you know, partially just because I got no money and I think I'm going to have to do that. But that's the stress of it. That's the topic of the show today. That's part of it. But the other part of it is, like, you know, I mean, I'll take trips and I'll go do things and have fun in retirement and just have fun in the sun. But I will think about that. Thank you, Craig, because that's an interesting thought. When did the concept of retirement come into our human, at least this culture, our culture?
Yeah, and I'm not finding a quick answer on the internet. Maybe I'll do a follow-up to the show or something, a follow-up article or something like that. And a lot of folks may disagree with what I just said, and I'd welcome your comments on that, but it's just the way I think. I think differently about a lot of things.
Like having 4 raw eggs for dinner.
Yeah, like dinner. My dinner choices.
Financial peach, man. Let's talk a little bit about that because it's, you know, I don't want to present it as the solution. I think, you know, we're really identifying, you know, helping people think about, helping people be aware of their emotions when it comes to money and finances. I mean, if you can be more aware of how you feel about these things, and we've done a good thing here tonight, but there's lots of solutions. I mean, manage your emotion, young man. Manage your emotions, sir. You know, ma'am. Take care of yourself internally, and you'll be a better financial manager. You'll be a better steward of your resources.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I think financial peace is is a good place to start. What says you?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, quickly, if I could jump back to that retirement question.
Oh, yep.
I just found an article on the Atlantic.
Too slow.
It says the idea was first introduced in 1881 by Otto von Bismarck.
I know that name, man.
He was the conservative minister-president of Prussia.
Right.
That was when the idea first came along. And it said before then, people did not retire.
Really?
Yeah. And just kind of browsing over this thing, it says that where did I see that at?
We're not on Wikipedia, are we?
No, this is theatlantic.com. It says in 1935, the official retirement age was 65, but at that time, the life expectancy for Americans was only 58.
Right, you weren't going to... Oh, gee, wait a minute, really?
Yeah, so I mean...
Life expectancy 58 and retirement age at 65?
So in essence, really, there wasn't really a retirement. Maybe a few people got to retire before they died, you know?
I guess our retirement age now would be like, what, 107?
Yeah, so as people's life expectancies have, and that's one of the problems with the Social Security system is, back in those days, you were only expected to live a few years after you quit working.
Yeah,
and now people retire in their mid 50s, early 60s. They might live 20 or 30 more years.
And you're not working,
and that's one of the big problems with Social Security the way it is now. Is it was
that's
never intended to keep people up for 20 or 30 years. Yeah,
that's really fascinating. That's why I like doing this show kind of live like we do. I kind of do the show notes and we just get your raw thought process about a lot of these things, Craig, because I mean that's a really genuine, unique perspective that I certainly, for one, have never thought about the concept of retirement. When did it come again in Prussia? 18?
Yeah, that was the first idea of it, 1881.
1881, so
Yeah, and there's a lot more here, but that's just hitting a couple of highlights that I was able to quickly find with the little bit of time that we do have.
That's pretty fascinating because I think that there's a lot of emotion in that, and and you kind of look at how the the Industrial Revolution kind of brought in a change of cohort mental health. That's a weird term I just created up in real time. Cohort is the age group of a person the age group of a group of people. And the mental health is as we talk about, but the cohort mental health switched big time around the turn of the century.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating.
A lot of concepts in society today are really new things.
And we think they're old and people...
Yeah, and people get their feathers all bent out of shape when we want to change something when it hadn't been around that long in the first place.
Yeah.
That's a whole different thing. So... to our listening audience, Chris and I are not going to retire from doing this podcast. So we'll be sitting here when we're 90 years old.
107 years old.
Hammering out mental health podcasts.
Dude, I love the idea. I really do. I think that's fantastic. I think it's fantastic.
All right, let's get back to financial peace.
I agree.